Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? It's Big Jonas. Happy Saturday to everybody, January 18th, 2020. Still can't believe it's 2020. We did it. We made it to the second decade of the new century. Congratulations to everybody. What will this decade bring us in Bitcoin price action? We know what the last decade brought us in Bitcoin price action. The last decade brought Bitcoin up tens of thousands of percentages from mere pennies when the decade started to almost $20,000, and now today almost $9,000. Still a tremendous, incredible achievement in the 2010 through 2020 cycle of Bitcoin. Now, what will 2020 to 2030 bring? Can we assume that Bitcoin is going to be exponentially more valuable, 10 years from now? 2030, we think about how if you were an early investor in 2010, 2011, 2012, regardless of Bitcoin 20K back to 3K, back to 14K, back to 7K, now currently almost under 9K. That investment, that early investment 10 years ago, really paid off still. So we can think about what will this decade bring us? And we want to think about, okay, no matter what the price action of Bitcoin, is it important for everybody to, no matter what the valuation is, no matter how many 0.00s there are, to always hold a little bit of Bitcoin and begin to build on that HODL position. Even if Bitcoin's at 9K and you think it's going to 4K or 5K eventually, or after the halvening, maybe it will drop 40%, or even before the halvening, it will drop 40%. So we think about this, and it's like we stress about, oh, am I kind of miss the bottom, or I kind of sell the top? But in reality, if you're not in it in the first place, then what's the point? So I think regardless of what the price action is, owning a wallet, having a Bitcoin address, and having a little bit of Bitcoin, even if it's 0.0000, having a little bit of Satoshi in there, makes you feel like you have skin in the game. You own a piece of Bitcoin. You own a piece of the potential future of financial economics, and the way that society uses a medium of exchange to buy and sell and trade for goods and services. And this is what the revolution of Bitcoin is. And we chart it to figure out what that future valuation can be. And we use the data that the chart has provided for us. We use the timeline and the history of Bitcoin, which frankly has been in an uptrend really its entire existence. Even when Bitcoin's in a downtrend, it's still in an uptrend. It's all relative, depending upon when you got in. If you were an investor around $1,000, okay, and you're still holding that initial investment there, it's irrelevant to what's going on here because you're thinking about the possibility of the future Bitcoin breaking most recent all-time high or the next all-time high, and on and on and on. And we can use the Fibonacci extensions, we can use parallels, we can use justifications we want that fit our bias as to future price targets, future extensions, the possibilities of such can be maybe we are in a new bull uptrend and we have just begun our wave 3 exponential run of a larger new 5-wave cycle because the bottom is in, We had a run up here after finding that initial support on the MA200 monthly chart. Also want you to note I am using the 31 day. Um, I definitely fits a lot of my biases in terms of adding that little extra day in Bitcoin. Because remember, Bitcoin, unlike other assets, is always moving. It's 24/7. So a month is not necessarily 30 days lunar in Bitcoin. It actually has a little different meaning when you add that extra day. So for these purposes, we're going to keep it there and think about what kind of an extrapolation we could use to base us on that we are in the early days of wave one of a larger wave three cycle here, which we are going to retest and break through our 2019 highs of 13K and potentially test the 2018, 2017 highs of above 20K. Our first extension, oops, I'm going to leave that there for a second. Our first extension of the wave three, just to get us something that is at least a 1-to-1 extension, would put Bitcoin above $17,000. That would break our lower low to a higher high here and get us within a couple grand of potentially, finding out that particular resistance of hiding that. But really what we're looking for is a more bullish 1.61A extension putting us over 20K and literally blasting us off there. Then we have a correction period where at least we don't get lower than our wave 1 extension, 14, 15K. And then we just blast off again in that wave 5 where we start the next bull run, 22, 23, and onward we go. And Bitcoin continues in this massive bullish cycle. And wouldn't that be a great narrative for the next several years? Well, is that really going to happen? Is that really the best case? That's pretty good of a best case scenario, but does that really make sense? Because what we're still experiencing here, I believe, is a massive unwinding of Bitcoin's tremendous, unprecedented bullish move of 2017, 2018, a very large corrective period, and they kind of still, because of the lower high, this is still considered, a dead cat bounce because we cannot get the understanding that this is what's going to bring us to that next higher high in the Bitcoin price action. And what's going to be determinative of this is breaking several key areas that Bitcoin has yet to break through. Now we're going to start with our MA200, okay, on the Bitcoin chart. Where's my, I'll do call out here. Actually, we'll know it's the 200, so let's talk about our price labels. I'm on Coinbase, okay. It's above 9K, the MA200. Now, we did wick it, okay, a couple times here, right? We did it here. We were actually able to get above it here. Actually, I should put this one in red. Because we have history as resistance initially touched many times, and then support where okay, here we go, we're above MA200, we're closing above it for several consecutive daily candles. Yeah, we're still hitting the MA100, but we'll figure out that next time. And then we failed to hold that support. The back test didn't even really get up there again. So once again, but this time's different because what's different this time is now we have MA100 support. We have MA100 support down here at, we should make these bigger, right? Obviously. We have MA100 support here down a little under 8K. And because of that, okay, this is actually a more of a bullish posture, in the price action here. Now, granted, we're still inverse where we want to be. We got to get our 50, okay, above our 100. And we get both of these above our 200. So we definitely have a long way to go on the daily chart, okay, that would get us to much more of a bullish stance of these moving averages, obviously something we had in 2019, okay, with the 50 over the 100 over the 200. Okay, so the reason we're looking at this time frame is we're trying to keep the whole move we've had so far over the past couple weeks in perspective over the overall very bearish unwinding of Bitcoin's price action over the latter half of 2019. We've been doing this, people, for 6 months, right? 219 days. Even with this, we're still putting in a lower high here. Okay, we got to close above 96. We got to close above. I mean, frankly, we want to close above 10K with conviction, but we want to close above an area that's almost $1,000 above where we currently are. Okay, which is still achievable, especially if we put closing candles above the MA200 on the daily chart. I think that would be notable. Notice, remember in our 2018 bear market, Bitcoin tried several times to break MA200, right? Several times, and couldn't do it. And the last even few times here, it never even really got very high at all. Okay, so we're repeating so far a trend that supports MA200 resistance continuing to hold the bullish expanse of Bitcoin price action. And then we just go literally repeating 2018, where we put some kind of a zigzag descending triangle for a while before some sort of a capitulation point. Is this the narrative that Bitcoin is still setting up? Well, we're very close to basically figuring that out, I think. Because if we break this cycle, if we break above the MA200, like we were not able to do many times here, maybe we have to back test it, okay? A little dip under 9K after it's broken through with a lower wick that shows buying intent, and buyers are fine holding above that 9K, which so far they are not. We are still under it. But if we were able to break through that particular area, this would potentially begin to change this narrative. I want to look at some other moving averages on this similar time frame. Guys, 78 of my closest friends watching me in the chat room live on Saturday night, Saturday day, Saturday morning, even Sunday morning, depending upon where you are in the world. Let's hit that thumbs up button. I really appreciate your support. Remember to follow me on Twitter. I'm at Big Jonas. There I am. Just hit 44,000 followers. I really appreciate that. It really means a lot. I can't believe I have 44,000 followers on Twitter. Back in March 2018, we're almost at the 2-year anniversary. Big Jonas, and I still can't believe that I'm here, and I've been part of this Bitcoin, this crypto space. In my heart, in my, what I do, like I like to trade. I like to trade charts, whether it be stocks or crypto, and I like to study charts and find opportunities in them. But that's only part of the way to actually trading and profiting from trading. You can have all the charts, you can have all the indicators, you can have all the buy and sell signals you want, but actually being able to execute and manage your trade is a whole different story. Setting proper stop losses, understanding your risk, and understanding how to maintain your bankroll. There's nothing worse than, having a bankroll and then losing it all. And yes, I've done it numerous times through my trading career until you begin to figure out that's not fun. Losing all your money, and you promise yourself to, practice a different kind of discipline that prevents you from over leveraging, going all in, chasing, FOMOing. Okay, you're doing well at 25x. Maybe I'm going to kick it up to 50x and add a few more, 10, 20, 30K Bitcoin on a leverage long or short. And then I'm kind of just let it ride a little bit and absorb a little more of a negative position. Then before you know it, you're on tilt. If you're a poker player, you know what that means, because I used to be a poker player as well. So I know the feeling of those exponential gains, and you can also endure some pretty crazy losses very quickly if you let your emotions take the better you. And that's the hardest part about trading, is learning to control your emotions, which even as seasoned you can become, emotions will obviously play an impact in how you figure out what to do, because let's face it, we are all human after all, even except for the algos, of course, right, who are pretty much running the markets now. So anyways, that's my little rant back to Bitcoin here. All right, so I did want to check out Uh, so, EMA 12, EMA 26, I do like to use these EMAs on my, basically any time frame. If I'm scalping, I'll start on lower time frames, and I'll look for crosses. I'll look for fake outs, and then I'll look for supports. And again, just these will be, the lower the time frame, the lower time you're basically planning to be in that particular trade. If you're going up to 4 hour or 6 hour time frames, there's a good chance you're playing that trade out over several hours or potentially several days. If you're on looking at the 5 minute, 15, up to the hourly or so, these are basically probably intraday trades that you're considering. So let's look at the hourly trade here. We basically have our bullish cross. We can kind of see that here a little better of our EMAs there. This was back almost 23 hours ago. There was that bull cross, and if you basically have saw that signal and ridden this up, higher lows have been consistent throughout, right? And we're still seeing that is consistent, but we are also seeing not really lower highs, more of like a very defined base here. I did go to the 6 hour when I put out my last tweet to kind of talk about, like, clearly we are seeing wick resistance followed by still wick, but really it's like our bodies enter here, okay? But because we're putting in these higher lows, okay, this was basically still shaping up to be a clearer ascending triangle with a consistent resistance. Now I'm on the 6 hour. We still have another hour left in this one. Now remember, we've done this before. Every time we break above, intra 6 hour candle, we get rejected. Let's make this red, right? We got a rejection. We were as high as 9,000, rejected. But intra candle, this candle looked pretty darn good, right? Just as our current one with an hour left is looking okay, pretty good, right? Volume, not so much. Again, this is Coinbase volume. Who really knows? But we've done this for the past couple days, right? So it's hard to get too excited until we put some sort of a closing candle above 9K, and potentially something with more conviction. The closer we get to our MA 200, which is meaningful, because it's a lot of people have their eyeballs on it, right? That's going to be very clear to see if Bitcoin can get above with conviction and close above it. That's going to be a very telling sign for if this is more of a meaningful, change in direction here. There's been a lot of talk about the rising wedge. Okay, we've seen this on Twitter. We're holding a very steep uptrend here. You could almost say it's almost slightly parabolic, right? We're starting to do something like that. We can kind of angle it out a little bit. Pull this in a little bit here, right? But we're starting to go slightly parabolic. Okay, so we can come forward, but we got to keep this going if the bulls are really, if this momentum, changing momentum is really true. And that's what we're seeing. We're basically seeing a very close rising wedge, MA 200, potential parabolic advance. Okay, volume, not terrible, but still, even with this, big moves here, our trend of lower highs in the volume profile still continues. All right, we even see that on this is Bitstamp. Again, volume, who knows? This shows actually how much higher that meaningful spike was here on the China pump back in October, because a lot of that Bitcoin was actually on this exchange. But still, even with these moves here, we're still significantly lower than the volume we did with that one, right? And we know how that one eventually ended. Who's in the chat room? What's up, Jeanette? What's up, Handy? What's up, Arliss? What's up, Christopher? Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. What's up, Dragon? What's up, Frankie? What's up, DA only TW? What's up, Chris C? What's up, Superboy? Yeah, huge sell-off in Chinese New Year. We've had a lot of history in January of Bitcoin. Um, I don't want to say it's a bad month because there's been volatility on both ends. There's been dumps. Remember, we had a huge dump in 18, right? And then, but actually, January was pretty bad actually in 18, but because December was so crazy good. And we fast forward to last year, right? November, December, and frankly, January started off kind of on a downtrend, but we were still in the 3Ks. I mean, frankly, we had already bottoms, hindsight lies. And we kind of closed out January just a little trickle down, but it wasn't really a trickle down. It's more like a consolidation with a higher low. And then there was our impulsive move there, February 9th ish. And this was beginning of a leading wave one diagonal. And then off to the races we went. So, there's kind of a mixture of history on both sides of this, obviously. And you can basically find a way to fit your narrative here. We do have this, you can really find inverse head and shoulders and head and shoulders pretty much anywhere on the chart. Yes, this can be, okay, an inverse head and shoulders. The heck? What the heck? Try that again. Let's make... There you go. 1, 2, 3. Measured move. Measured move. Okay. But we could still be doing... Which one was it? Was it that? There it is. So there's moving averages that we can use to set our bias as to, we got above this, and this chain is good above this. We have Bollinger Bands that I like to use, obviously. We've been riding the upper BB, okay, for days here. Middle Bollinger support. We should note where it is. Okay, just a hair under 8K. I haven't touched our middle Bollinger since our breakout at 7K, right? It's been quite a while there. Now, we've done this before. We've ridden upper BB, just riding it, and didn't really get to touch our middle Bollinger for quite some time here. So we've been this bullish before. And we can see in our bull market of 2019, that lower BB, when that thing breaks, that was an amazing buy right there. That little break there. That was the last time it broke until here. And that was a kind of ominous side. The initial break, come back up, break the above, stay in it, get tight here, explode. And now we're very wide again. We were very wide once again in our daily Bollingers, and we're still, again, this is what's still concerning here, is this enough new money volume, even with the narrative of a bullish chart, even with the narrative of a lengthy support zone test above 6,500 and around 6,500 to even $7,500 there. Is this going to be enough of a narrative to bring new money in, or will we just get lackluster bounce once again? Notice how we ran up again, the same thing back July. There's the inverse head and shoulders. Go beautifully up for weeks here, 65 to 85. Ride that upper BB. And I remember we were consolidating here for about a week or so. Just kind of chilling, and then the market just didn't have it in it. And it fell quick and literally brought us all the way back down to 6K. Now, we don't have to do that, which would literally basically say we consolidate here for a couple more days maybe. Testing 9K, maybe get a little higher, a few wicks here and there. But eventually the bottom falls out quickly when the market feels it can't get any higher. This is still a narrative that's still in play until proven otherwise. But you want to talk about inverse head and shoulders, we could even look at this like even a larger one, where we do get that reset, right? And then we actually get a reset, putting us probably somewhere around here. And now our actual little inverse head and shoulders becomes just the head of a much larger inverse head and shoulders. That frankly would be a more meaningful inverse head and shoulders for a bottoming position. Similarly to our, potential Adam and Eve bottoming we had here, / ascending triangle bottoming, okay? This here is still pretty quick of a bottoming. This took long enough, This was like 3.5 months here. Well, let's basically play out this bottoming here. I'd say subjectively we were about, the first time we really hit $3,400, 126 bars. I'd say, yeah, basically the first time we hit $7,300, about 92 bars. So this would be a lot quicker of a bottoming, where we range within, $500 of the bottom for a while. Even if I want to get this a little more to here, 26, I guess I could basically say 8K was then 7K. That's $1,500 lower. So that's pushing it. But yeah, I guess there is some definitely comparableness to this. But we're actually kind of pushing it. We're almost doing the breakout now where this was more over here. I don't know. I just think that the longer we can consolidate, the more of a base that Bitcoin could create. If we start chugging higher here, and again, we really have to feel that until a higher low is put in, until we put closing candles above this area, there's no buyers that were willing to buy the last time Bitcoin broke 10K. So the market, that market structure needs to change if we are on the beginning of a much larger continuation of the Bitcoin bullish cycle. 73 of my closest friends watching. Let's hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button. Almost hitting a half hour here. I just want to check out a couple more things. I guess we can go low time frame. Let's clean up the garbage. There we go. So obviously here, Bitcoin has been consolidating. Okay, are we doing some sorting of a running bull flag channel here, right? I mean, this is the kind of channels we do see when Bitcoin is very bullish, a running bull flag. And then even in this running bull flag, we have very tight triangles forming, right? Initially this was going to be some sort of a little M top, but that higher high took that out. And now we're basically kind of doing a pennant in a running bull flag on declining volume. On the Bitcoin 30-minute chart. So we're getting very close here to something more meaningful. Again, it's weekend price action. Always be skeptical of weekend price action. Frankly, it's the CMEs that I'm most curious about. Where is my CME? Because that's, well, actually, I want to go to dominance first, then we'll look at CME. So yeah, freaking dominance here. So Bitcoin dominance really took a dump here because money was flowing into alts. This was a very curious move. Um, the move in Bitcoin last week brought a lot of money in to the charts. I shouldn't say brought a lot of money in, brought a lot of price action into the charts. And a lot of these alt charts were pretty thin that didn't take a lot to run the books. What that really means is that it doesn't take a lot of money to slap the ask and push the pricing up, bringing the support levels higher. And then you hit the algos catching on with a little bit of retail, and off to the races you can go. And we see that as Bitcoin dominance, which was peaking over 70 last week, definitely has been grinding a lot lower. Wow, it was a big drop, almost a 4% drop in Bitcoin dominance. That's a big increase in a lot of alt money inflow. We saw that with some of the gains in a lot of altcoins across the board. So this is definitely a meaningful trend because we can see where we are in Bitcoin dominance, and you can frankly see that this literally is the zone, that 67% dominance, where you'd want to, where if you were Bitcoin, you'd want to see you at least hold, because lower than that, that would really show that a lot of more money is flowing into altcoins, and that even if Bitcoin does fall, that's really always the key test. When Bitcoin falls, what does it do to dominance? And if alts are really stronger than Bitcoin right now, then Bitcoin can fall, and you're actually going to see Bitcoin dominance fall with it. That would be a very clear test that the alts are strong and that they probably still have more running room left in them. So wait for the very first pullback, if there is one, at least a few $100s of Bitcoin. Watch dominance and see how it reacts. If it drops, then definitely shows there's still more juice in the alt market. If it rises, then that would probably be a bad sign for the continuation of this move. Oh yeah, I was going to do CME. So let me go back to CME. So yeah, there are the gaps. I'm a big 4-hour gapper. Any new ones? Looks clean. Oh, look at that. There's a new one there. Right. $7,600. Okay, so a new gap. 7,600. 72 was filled. You can see there was a gap there for quite a while. Well, not quite a while. Like 4 days. Got filled here. There's a gap here. Got filled here. Gap here. Almost got filled there, but didn't. And everything looks pretty clean from there. Now, there's still a gap up here at 11.7. And there's gaps lower. So, and even if we do get, even if CMA over the next few weeks does chug up to 11.7, clearly it will create more gaps below it. And remember, historically, on the 4-hour, everything, well, I shouldn't say everything, but even if it takes 500 days, like this one did here, which does still mark the local top of 2019, then all gaps do eventually, potentially, on the 4-hour get filled at some point. And I will stick by that until probably proven otherwise. And if it has to be proven otherwise, for me to let go of this one down at 3K, and potentially even ones around 7K, I would really need to see Bitcoin get back to all-time highs, and then I cannot possibly see how there would be enough of a baseline of support within $6,500 to $9,500 of just intrinsic value after being tested so many times over so many years. Right, this area of price history. I mean, if you've been into Bitcoin even by 2018, how many charts have we looked at of Bitcoin 9K, Bitcoin 8K, Bitcoin 7K, Bitcoin mid to high 6Ks. How much time have we spent in this zone here? Okay. Since, its inception of CME back here, which also marked the top of Bitcoin around 20K. And also remember that the CME is only on the weekends and on the weekdays, and it's a kind of a Monday through Friday situation, and it has already broken above its own MA 200 on the daily chart. So according to the CME, it's already done that. Note that this was also a area of major support, turned resistance, back tested several times, and now is being found as support again. That is the MA 200 on the CME daily chart. Weekly, does it even show up? Not too early still. So that's something that can set your bullish bias, as MA 200 has already been achieved on this particular chart that only basically trades during school days, if you will. So back to Bitcoin, still hovering just below the MA 200. It's hard to think that it's not going to get touched and pierced. We've been up here for so long. Are we really lacking another $100 move here in Bitcoin? Frankly, it would make sense for the exchanges to pull in some more longs. They're paying a lot, right? I got to add the indicator. What was that? That was the funding. That was the NeoButane. There it is. I'm on let me go to MEX. There it is. Yeah, longs are paying 0.06, 0.07. So yeah, longs are paying a decent chunk of change here to hold their leverage long positions. And if you don't know what that means, check out dudex.com/BigChonas. Sign up now. Also, fluxtradinggroup.com. But longs are paying a lot here. And remember, it doesn't necessarily mark the top in terms of price action or time, but every time we do get our longs paying a lot more over a certain amount of time, especially our all-time high here, top of 2019, and of course our all-time high, look how much longs we're paying for that time there, and it's still the price action rose. Okay? Doesn't mean we still can't make these longs pay a lot because Bitcoin keeps rising up. Okay? You can't just do a one-to-one for, KC or Green Bay or San Fran or even Tennessee. If you're betting Tennessee, you're basically short, and you're basically being paid to basically hold that short. So that's where we're at right now in terms of where the money currently is pushed. Funding, or sorry, I keep saying funding, but really it's more premium. Is that you're paying a premium to hold your leverage longs. And so far the chart's basically playing that out. And I could see that a price action above the MA 200 pulls in some more. Okay. We can still, even with our rising wedge, right? We can still go a little higher, $9,200, right? We can still go just a little higher, a little FOMO wick higher, from a Fibonacci standpoint, we're right in the golden zone. We've been here for a few days. Okay, we did it. Do we go up to the 786? We can still do that, right? And put in close enough to a double top in terms of the candles. Maybe not the wick, but really that would be a kind of a double top situation. Or a 786 extension. Another $500 of Bitcoin price action. But for now, we're hitting that golden pocket. And, we know we did this many times back in 2018. bear market where we hit that golden pocket again after an inverse head and shoulders, and then we gave it all back, except for a little bit. So this, and we were also, as you can see clearly, freaking literally right at the MA200, right? So we're back at the underside of the MA200, right at the 7.8, at the 618 golden pocket. I mean, is this weird or what? Is history about to repeat itself or what? We're about to find out real soon. Next week's price action will be very interesting, to say the least. Superboy, I know nothing. What's up, Jonas? Hey, buddy. What's up, John W? What's up, Pat Can? What's up, Dragon Man? What's up, Chris C? So, guys, Big Jonas here. I think I'm spent 40 minutes. You guys are great following me. I really appreciate it. The support. Tell your friends. I think next week we'll be able to add some more clarity to the strength of this market, how strong we really are here. But because I lived through the 2018 bear market and a lot of these false hopes, very bullish moves with very bullish candles over April, over February, over April, over July, over August, a little tether pump here in October. Because I lived through this under the MA200, I'm cautious where I see where the Bitcoin price action is right here. And these are the important areas we'll be watching going into next week. Just real quick here on the weekly, didn't do too much on that, but we're definitely above middle Bollinger. If we can close out the week above middle Bollinger, upper BB is still a little bit over 10.5. As we climb up there, EMA 12, EMA 26. Still yet to cross, still in a bearish posture, but angling definitely over the next several weeks potentially to test that cross. This cross here of the 50 and 100 did prove to be actually quite meaningful in just bullish price action. We did do 2 weeks in a row here in July and 1st of August of this bearish market here, where we did put 2 bullish weeks in a row, although our second one did end with a very nasty shooter up here. So even though we are here, we were also looking just as good the week of August 5th before 12.3 closed at 11.5. And then our follow-up week, we know what happened there. So don't count the week until it closes, which is still another day away. But oscillators, indicators, chalk and money flow above our zero line on our weekly, definitely notable. Weekly RSI above 50. Testing this potential double top here. Resistance. Okay, still kind of on the underside of this resistance, support, resistance, still right there on the underside of it. Nice expanse here of our Stoke. Our squeeze on our weekly is still in the negative. Our daily is still very much in the positive and climbing. We still haven't yet to put in a lower low on the histo. Sorry, a lower high on the histo. Remember, these do tend to turn over very quickly from bullish moves here. Okay, but we are still putting in a higher one there, and we can, now that we're putting in a higher high, potentially even draw a target in the coming days, which would mean quite a bit more bullish price action if we were going to follow this line of resistance. Rising resistance, rising bullish resistance. And our OBV on our daily, it's interesting. We're still holding this lower high, but we're still holding these higher lows. We are in a uh, kind of a channel here, right? It is flagging, you know. Again, like our price action, the more meaningful closes would be something above here, which we're not really there yet. Ooh. So our oscillator is looking pretty good. There was one thing I did want to mention, very last in the 3-day. Again, the higher the oscillator, the less meaningful I feel I have with the Stoch. But the 3-day is seldom up on pegged off 100 on both indicators for very long. There was an example here in October, obviously, where we were up there for almost 2 weeks. We were here for about a week, a couple days, a little bit here. So once again, we are pegged off at 100 on the 3-day Stoch, and these don't tend to stay up here. Well, I'm just saying that these do tend to mark eventually a top before something, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of a trend. But the length of them being up here longer than several 3-day candles, which would be maybe a week and a half tops. We basically been up here for a little over a week, maybe 10 days already. So that's definitely notable. And there was also something else in the 3-day. Look how the EMA 12 and 26, just alone here, okay? How many times they came close, like daisy chain, right? Daisy chain, daisy chain, daisy chain. Never able to cross. And now once again, look at that. We're right there. Daisy chain. What? Bull cross? So this is, again, very close here. But I just feel that this has come up so high. This is kind of set for some sort of a rollover. When you get this much of a pullback bullishly that quick, see how this was getting closer and closer and closer, and then boom, this was so far, it's corrected. And now I feel there'll be a little turnover of consolidation. But Bitcoin closes the week, or enters the last day of the week, I should say, flirting with 9K once again. All right, that's it. I'm out. Big Chonas here. You guys are great. Much appreciate your support. Also, your thumbs up are definitely appreciated. Hit your support. Hit your subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Epic Chonas. Thank you for having some time to spend with me on this fine Saturday. Hope you guys have a great night. We'll talk to you very soon. Big Chonas out. Peace.